We will bring the special assembly meeting to order for July 31st, 2023. Ms. Hughes-Candies, would you do the land acknowledgement, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. We would like to acknowledge that the city and borough of Juneau is on unceded Tlingit land and wish to honor the indigenous people of this land. For more than 10,000 years, Alaska Native people have been and continue to be integral to the well-being of our community. We are grateful to be in this place, a part of this community, and to honor the culture, traditions, and resilience of the Tlingit people. Kunoshish.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes-Candies. Mr. Jones, even though it's not here, would you do the flag salute?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both. With that, we will do roll call. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I will start with our newly sworn, resworn Assembly Member Jones. Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Hughes-Candies.
Here.
Ms. Hale.
Here.
Mr. Bryson.
Present.
Ms. Wall.
Present.
Walaki Doc.
Here.
Ms. Gladishevsky
Here.
and Mayor Weldon.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Manager request for agenda changes. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I have one agenda change. If we could take item 7, the staff report that's currently on the consent agenda, and just pull that off consent, and I'll do a brief staff report right before item H. That's the staff report on the Huna Totem cruise ship dock proposal and the conditional use permit process. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Manager. And we have the clerk in the back of the room getting some things to bring up here, so we'll give her a minute. Chief Mercer, come on up front. I'll come down to you. So you have to hold this facing me. Hold it still. It's nice to order the chief around. So this is a proclamation honoring Edwin Mercer. Whereas Edwin Mercer is a lifelong Alaskan who grew up in Southeast Alaska, and whereas Chief Mercer started his career in law enforcement by attending the Law Enforcement Training Academy in Sitka, Alaska in 1991. And whereas after graduating, he became a reserve officer with the Sitka Police Department in 1992. And whereas a year later, he was sworn in as a full-time police officer. And whereas Ed moved to Juneau in 2000 and joined the Juneau Police Department as a lateral officer, and whereas Ed initially worked in the patrol division and later in the drug enforcement unit, and whereas within 4 years, Ed began to rise through the ranks, he was promoted to patrol sergeant in March of 2004, to lieutenant 2 years later, to captain of operations 5 years later, and to deputy chief 2 years after that. And whereas in July 2017, Ed accepted the position of chief of police in Juneau, and for the past 6 years has led the Juneau Police Department with distinction. And whereas during his tenure, Chief Mercer has shown his commitment to community policing principles and programs that foster relationships with the citizens of Juneau. And whereas Chief Mercer was responsible for JPD accreditation through the Oregon Accreditation Alliance, and whereas Chief Mercer led the way as the Juneau Police Department's first Alaska Native police chief. He received the Alaska Federation of Natives 2021 Public Service President's Award. Now, therefore, I, Beth A. Weldon, Mayor of the City and Borough of Juneau on Alaska, on behalf of the City and Borough Assembly, do hereby issue this proclamation honoring Edwin Mercer for his over 30-year career in law enforcement in Southeast Alaska. Can't run off. I spoke Friday, but I'll just again say you have a very calm command presence, and you have led us through the mountains and the valleys of public service for many years, and we really appreciate your career. And I have a couple people that would like to say something. We'll start with Mr. Barr. You have to come up here, Mr. Barr. Don't leave him hanging up here by himself.
Madam Mayor, thank you for indulging me. So despite most of us here having multiple employers across the span of our careers, every now and then we find someone like Ed, who has dedicated almost all of his career to Juneau, and in fact, all of it to Southeast Alaska. I have found it a little bit challenging today, thinking about putting into words how much I valued and appreciated the opportunity to work with you over the past handful of years. Ed is a consummate professional in all that he does, and his years of intentionally developed and practiced expertise are evident in all of our conversations, individually, one-on-one, with our leadership team, with the public, with the assembly. One of the things we as an organization think about when someone like Ed retires is institutional memory and knowledge transfer. In a lot of ways, Ed and people in Ed's position care for that by emphasizing professional development and training of their staff. One of the things that was mentioned by Ed's staff, one of Ed's staff members at his retirement party last week, was a focus on mental health training, mental health counseling, in fact. And I'll echo that here. Ed has been dogged in that pursuit, and it's proving valuable. And you might initially think, well, mental health training and counseling, is that really fall under the umbrella of professional development? And I can assure you it absolutely does. It makes our staff better at what they do. On the flip side, it's not terribly realistic to assume that we can do anything approaching a full knowledge transfer when for someone who has dedicated their entire career to our organization. There is simply a lot of value that we gain by having, that we, the community, gain by having long-term employees. And we lose that value when the employee retires. That's natural, it's normal, and it's incumbent upon us to always be working to develop the next generation and create workplace opportunities and a workplace culture that encourages long-term employment and the value that we derive out of that. And Ed and his team have done that. While it's true that recruitment at JPD and elsewhere in the community, elsewhere in the CBJ continues to be a challenge, at the same time, JPD has some of the longest tenured employees in the city. I've had the pleasure of meeting with Ed every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. for the past couple of years. And we talk about a lot of things in those meetings. We focus on, of course, the day-to-day, topic of the day, whether that's recruitment and retention or fleet issues, trying to buy, replacement JPD vehicles or other sorts of vehicles, or issues specific to police response, whatever the most recent issue that we've dealt with. We focus on those, but then after those sorts of conversations, it hasn't been uncommon for our conversations to range widely. No topic out of bounds, up to and including the meaning of life, right? Like I'm going to miss those conversations. I'm going to miss being able to brainstorm whatever we're dealing with inside or outside of the police department every Wednesday morning. So maybe the last thing I'll note is that CBJ is a somewhat unique organization in that we have historically attracted families to work for us, and that is true for Ed's family. Kelly's here in the audience, and one of the first things when Ed told me he was going to retire, one of my first concerns was not for Ed. All right. It was like, wait a second, does that mean we're going to lose Kelly too? And because I mean, let's be real, right? Like police chiefs matter and like they're hard to replace, but payroll managers matter way more. So I'm happy that we're only having to replace the police chief. So Ed, happy retirement. Yeah.
Several of us spoke on Friday, so I don't know if anybody else on this side wants to speak. No. Okay, well, Hoggadock, you wanted to say something? No, you have to come up here. You can't leave him hanging.
Hello. I wanted to say a Tlain Gunnath Chish. Sorry I missed on Friday your party, but I'm glad I get to be here today to say that to you. For those of you who don't know the meaning of Gunnath Chish, it means without you, this would not have been possible. I'm going to get emotional because you changed the face of Alaska just by stepping into the role that you did. In a space that has been often inequitable for our people, you made sure that it was. You made sure that every citizen was safe here. And I am so thankful that you spent the time that you have here in Juneau, in Santa Kahini, in the role that you have, and continue to serve all of our Juneau people the way that you did. Your presence is going to be missed. What an honor it was to have somebody like Chief Mercer as one of the only Alaska Natives to serve as chief of police in all of Alaska. Considering we're 22% of the population, that is a feat, and it should be something that should be replicated throughout. And you're setting an example, and hopefully one that will be followed by many, many other communities, including Juneau, into the future. And so I want to say again, Tlain Gunnath Chish for your service, and thank you for always taking care of our people.
Kelly, can you come up, please? Don't look fearful. So I forgot on Friday to mention you that being a police chief and being an assembly person is not an 8 to 5 job. So we appreciate you and the family interrupting him all the time and asking interesting questions. And he was always very calm to all of us. So we appreciate you and your family. So, all right, you get to go through the route and shake hands with everybody. You too, Kelly. Start with Robert. Oh, yes, you want to say
Really
something.
quick.
Stay roaring.
Yeah, it's all right. I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank each and one of you guys on the assembly as far as supporting JPD. It's going to be ongoing. I think I had little sidebar conversations with a couple of you before we started today. You know, I would lie to you if I were to say that I did this by myself. It's my staff who did everything that made me shine in my position. I'm happy to hear that I was able to be the beacon of light in tough times at JPD and for the community. That's the role of the chief as far as it goes. And it's an honor serving Alaska Natives as far as stepping up in the role to go out there and serve the public. But I just want to take a moment. I kind of talked at the ceremony. I am appreciative of the community. CBJ has done nothing but good for my family, raised my family here in Juneau. I anticipate living here in Juneau and still being around and seeing your faces. I've often said to Robert and Rory's going to be behind me relatively soon, that I'm always a phone call away. you know, and I know that we're in good hands with the department. We got good leadership, we got good supervision, we got dedicated personnel that's going to go out and serve the community on a daily basis. And they appreciate your guys' support. And I hope that continues on as we continue on. As I said at the ceremony, I want to pick the newspaper up and read good things about JPD, as everybody else in this room. But sometimes that's not easy in the society we live in today. So I'm appreciative of everything you guys done, and thank you. And I want to thank my wife as far as being by me through this long tenured career. Couldn't do it without her and my family. So thank you.
Yeah, don't forget the plaque, yes. All right, so that will lead us to public participation on non-agenda items. Did we have any members of the public that want to speak on non-agenda items? All right, with that, we will go to consent agenda. Is there any public requests for consent agenda changes other than ordinances for introduction? Well, since it's all ordinances for introduction, I suppose not. Any assembly requests for consent agenda changes? See none. Assembly action, Ms. Gladysevsky.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the consent agenda as amended, and I ask for unanimous consent.
Any objection? See none, it is approved. Next, we have our staff report. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This is just a brief staff report on the permitting process for the proposed cruise ship dock at the subport by Hunatotum. And the effort here is just to get information out to the public, because I think people are a little confused on the process, and understandably so. In your packet, on packet page 18 is a memo that I wrote 2.5 years ago to then Deputy Mayor Jones, outlining a process for the dock consideration. And since CBJ is, we have many hats here. We're the landowner. We have our waterfront plan, we have our permitting process, and we have our appeal process as well. So we tried to lay out a clean process. And this staff report is just to remind everyone that we're following the process in the memo, that this issue is before the Planning Commission, has been to the Planning Commission, which has issued one decision. It will be at the Planning Commission again on August 8th. Note that my memo is incorrect. I say the 9th. Again, it's not ripe for assembly action. But we did want to just give you an update and make it easy for the public to understand the process. So that's all I have to say. Be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Mr. Watt? Ms. Wall and then Ms. Hale.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At the July 11th Planning Commission meeting, several of the commissioners, as well as myself, were shocked by how few members of the public were at the Planning Commission meeting about this topic that I know many people care deeply about. Will there be more public outreach prior to this August 8th meeting?
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I understand that there was limited participation, and that our public noticing wasn't easy to understand. So we will endeavor to put more notice out there, clearer notice to the public for this upcoming hearing.
All right, Ms. Hale.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Manager. I appreciate the update. And I think mostly for the Assembly, because it has been a couple of years since we received this memo from you, but also for the public. A later Assembly action will be the decision on whether to lease the tidelands. Is that correct?
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. That's correct. So the process laid out in the memo from 21 is about the lease process, and that being the Assembly process for deciding whether or not to lease land for the project, which would be a pivotal decision.
Thank you. Anything further? So just to be completely clear to the public, right now it is at the Planning Commission working on a conditional use permit process. And then it will eventually work its way to the Assembly where we're looking at a tideland lease. So by no shape will the 8th of August be the last time we will be taking public comment or discussing this matter. All right, with that, if there's no further questions, we're going to go to committee liaison reports, and the only one we're going to talk to tonight is Mr. Smith. You have some appointments for us.
Yes, Madam Mayor. The Human Resources Committee met earlier tonight and discussed appointments to the Systemic Racism Review Committee, the SRRC. The Human Resources Committee unanimously recommended to the Assembly, and I move the appointments of Ivan Nance, Anna Vera Morado, and Jennifer Pemberton to the Systemic Racism Review Committee for terms beginning immediately and ending June 30th, 2026. And I ask for unanimous consent on that motion.
Any objection? Seeing none, they are appointed. So is there any pressing with any other of the committees that's going on? That sounds great. So before we go to executive session, I do see some members of the Boy Scouts. So hello to the Boy Scouts. Anyway, Ms. Wall, would you move us into executive session?
I move we recess into executive session to discuss matters that the immediate knowledge of which would defame or prejudice the character or reputation of any person, specifically those individuals invited to interview with the committee, and to discuss recruitment examination materials that are confidential. And I ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Ms. Wall. Is there any member of the public that objects to going into executive session? See none. Is there any member of the Assembly that objects to going into executive session? See none. We'll be reconvene in 5 minutes. Is that enough time, clerks, or do you need a little more time?
Let's clear the room and probably 8 minutes. I think we can clear the room, and anyone who would like to stick around until after executive session, you can come upstairs to the clerk's area, and the Assembly will be here in the chambers on their own.
We will come back at 7:10 on that clock in the back.